today's the 10-year anniversary of Takeover, and our friends On This Day in WWE were posting about that, and that was very much, it felt like WWE's kind of answer to the Indies, or we're going to grab all the great guys of the Indies, we're going to create this fun, cool brand that's not red or blue. It's black and yellow, and this is what we have. But it seemed like there was this heavy work rate run of the Indies for a while, and then everybody just kind of got good and got better and got away from character work and promos, and it feels like that's kind of swinging back around the last couple of years. Do you, if someone's asking you right now, how the hell do I get over on the Indies? What are you telling them?
I mean, everything swings back around. We're in an era we were in that work rate era with the Matt Riddles and the Kyle O'Reillys and all these guys, the Tim Thatchers and stuff, and then all these guys got signed up, and then there was guys like Effie and Danhausen and Orange Cassidy, and as people were saying, meme wrestlers, but a lot of these guys are actually just great workers, but it just wasn't the Tim Thatchers of the world, like in that realm of professional wrestling. So, my advice now is, I think we're swinging back around on a combination of everything. There's great characters and there's great wrestling, and there's, a lot of death matches still.
But there's Cardona's taken that on as part of his personality, and look what it did for him, and look at who's got involved, and to your point with someone like Nick Gage, a deathmatch guy who then can go kind of have those fun matches with random tag teams that jump out, and you put them in there with Danhausen and whatever. And honestly, I think you and I both know this. Save some bumps sometimes when you're more of a character wrestler, and you can get to the spots that you want to get to. I know you're balls to the wall. You just had a 60-minute Iron Man match with Nick Wayne, who, as I look at him right now, he's not wrestling very much in AEW, but he's getting a lot of time standing next to one of the greatest of all time in Christian. How would you book Nick Wayne if you had a chance to right now?
I mean, I would try to book him like that, like he is right now, because, when shit goes down, Nick Wayne's going to be elevated because of his time with Christian, and whatever happens with the falling apart, whether he turns on him or whatnot, you got a potential to make a massive star there. But Nick Wayne, he knows he wants to wrestle more. You can give him little matches here and there and whatnot, and keep him going. Luckily, Nick Wayne has a ring at his house, so he's able to roll around in that, and they have a whole his academy that his dad started, and that still goes today, and a lot of guys came out of that, so he can go roll around with those guys whatever he wants. But
a couple more before I let you go. Go ahead.
It's still going into the Iron Man match. He was worried because he was like, man, I haven't wrestled in a month. I haven't wrestled since WrestleMania weekend. He's like, also, I put on 10 pounds because I got a diet now, and they're making me eat all this meat. And he's like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it, man. I'm like, nah, don't worry. It's going to be the easiest match of your life. And, man, we really killed it. And it's a shame, like, the indies, there's not as much eyes on the indies these days. Live, the shows have been great. They've been selling out all over the place. It's like when a band comes to your town, you got to be there to see, But the engagement as far as Twitter and Reddit and everything else when it comes to independent wrestling is down. In 2017, when I first blew up on the independents, a Beyond Wrestling show would be happening on a Sunday, and there would be a Reddit thread that was endless. Or on Twitter, you'd click a hashtag, and there'd be gifs after gifs after gifs, and people talking about GCW show. And these days, the engagement as far as social media for independent wrestling is completely down. I feel like because the independent wrestling people you know, it was hard to see that type of wrestling. They can watch now on Wednesday nights.
Yep.
They can see the non WWE style of professional wrestling. You could see that live on Wednesdays, free on cable television instead of downloading this or buying this iPay-per-view. And so people are less focused on, watching independent shows. I feel like if this me and Nick Wayne match happened in 2018, 2019, there'd be a lot more eyes on it. It was a 5-star match in my eyes. It was a 5-star match in a lot of people's eyes. And a lot of people did watch it. The show has 30,000 views on YouTube, which was smart to put it on YouTube for free for that reason. But still, GCW is probably the most viewed indie right now.
Yep.
As far as Troller TV and stuff. But you'll see people talking about it, but not as much as it used to be. Like Beyond Wrestling, there was, when I was in there having my feud with David Starr, you'd go on Reddit. I'd vanity search myself on Reddit, see what people thought. And it would just be endless comments. And now it's like, now we don't have to go out of our way to watch it anymore because we can watch independent wrestling, what we think it is on Wednesday nights on AEW.
So do you think it's just perception for people thinking, well, I that's what it is on the indies, so I can watch it there, and maybe I'll catch up on those people? Is it?
Yeah,
is it not as pop? Is it character work? Are people not as popular as well on the indies?
No, yeah, it's probably not as popular as well, but it's hard to say. Maybe the brands are more popular these days. Like maybe it's the brand GCW,
right?
But I feel like that is AEW too. Like I feel like it's not like there's some guys, of course, they're over the MJFs, but it's not the guys that are over in AEW. It's the brand.
Sure.
That's over. I feel like that's wrestling. I feel like WWE, of course, it's always going to be WWE, and they're on an upswing right now. But it's like there's people that, like, we go to New Mexico for GCW. They're like, oh, we don't really know but we know the name GCW. We have to go see GCW. Of course, there's guys over me, Nick Gage, Effie, and we're over guys, but it's the brands I think these days that are more over than the wrestlers.
I want to ask you about somebody who's going to start with GCW soon. You shouted out Sidney Akeem, former Reggie, former Scripps on Twitter. I know we have a tweet with that, and he'll be part of 3 GCW shows this month, including what should be, if you've seen him and Ninja Mac in Dallas is going to be a gift machine in the best way possible. But you put him over here, and I loved working with Reggie. That guy was willing to do anything. He was a favorite of a certain former company for a time. I mean, there was something there, and he did anything asked of him. Why? What caught your eye? Why are you thinking he's going to be something on the indies?
I think he's just I think he's a real athletic guy. I don't really watch TV wrestling too much. I don't really. I can't say I've seen one of his matches, but I've seen clips of him. I know he's an athlete, and WWE really never got to have that opportunity to have those long matches. They were always probably relatively short matches, 5 to 8 minutes. I'd probably say that was usually his frame in WWE for his match. But now he's got all these indie guys to work off of and also learn something from, because Absolutely. These guys are out there 3 times a week doing these indie shows, and they kind of got it down. Guys like Jack Carwheel, he's wrestling. He's going to be wrestling. Ninja Mac is a guy who's been all over Japan. He's going to be wrapping up with the Super Juniors in the next week, I think.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to learn there, and if he wants to hustle, it's not only that. It's not only do you have to hustle for your money, you have to come in level-headed. You have to come in saying, you have to realize that independent companies, they're not going to pay you that much. They're not going to pay you like some guys recently that have been released that are asking for $3,000 a day. And, independent promoters, some of them might be willing to pay it the first go around, but they're not going to be willing to give that to you every single month.
Joey, let me ask you about that, though, real quick, because you mentioned the rates of people coming off of WWE and varying levels of popularity coming out of WWE. Is that them not being in touch with the indies and not realizing, hey, there's other ways to make money than charging a higher rate?
It's just, I think it's just a quick money grab, and a lot of people are delusional when it comes to their rates. And I understand you're lost. You just got released from your contract. You don't know how things are going to turn out. You don't know if people are going to want to book you again. Luckily, I never went through that because throughout basically my whole AEW run, I took indie dates, and I always knew that if it didn't work out here, that I would always have a stable income. But some of these guys, it's pretty scary to get out there, but it's a hustle. Not only do you have to wrestle often and more physically than you have in the last few years, probably on a weekly basis, but there's merch involved, and there's this and that and this. And there's a couple routes you can go. You can go a convention route, and you can do a high rate and wrestle for the AEWs or the big time wrestlings. They do big summer tours all over the place, big minor league baseball stadiums and stuff. And I'm sure they'll pay you the $3,000. But if you hit up Brett Lauderdale and say, I want $3,000, and his top guys are not even making close to that, he's going to laugh at you, or he's just never going to respond to your email and just say, listen, how many fit? Excuse me, my allergies are terrible, and I smoke 20 cigarettes a day. But Brett Lauderdale is going to look at you and be like, are you going to bring more fans?
Exactly. Like we know what our audience is. Yeah.
Are you going to bring more fans? Are you going to bring more eyes to like a guy like Matt Cardona? Of course, that was so outside the box, and that was basically all. That was a John Carlo idea, which he's always been very smart with some of that stuff. He's one of the guys founding fathers of Spring Break and the current getting GCW to this current state right now. But like a guy like that, like, will that bring more eyes? Or like, will like these guys that just got released, will they bring more eyes? Or I most of these guys, I don't think it would matter if you put them on the show. We're going to sell the same tickets no matter what. But then you have other guys like Jinder Mahal, of course. Now you're like, this guy. If he's willing to play ball, that's definitely something outside the box enough to bring more fans in and to bring more eyes on the GCW. You got to look at it like that. But some of these guys just ask for too much. And also guys on AEW, if they want to, sometimes they take indie dates and stuff. They say, this is my price. And a lot of people are not going to pay that. And a lot of promotions that do pay that, that's why they go out of business within.
You said it.